Thank you.
Yeah, go Marcela. You have the
Well,
stage.
I wanted to thank you first for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. And I wanted to tell you guys a little bit of my story and how speaking another language and also traveling helped me develop the person I am right now. I wouldn't be nobody if I couldn't today express myself through any language, Portuguese, Spanish, or English. It doesn't really matter, but it's very important. So we had this idea of talking about traveling and how it would impact. Because when I first had my contact with an English speaker, I couldn't speak English. So this person told me, I was 16, and this person told me, "How old are you?" And I couldn't say 16. I didn't know how to say. I was 16, 17. So his name was Dylan. He was from the American Army. He was in Tokyo at that time. And I couldn't reply my age because I didn't know how to say 16. So I took my phone and I put 1 and 6 because my friend beside me told me, he's asking your age in Portuguese, no? And I said, oh, okay, my age, cool. I have 1 7. And I showed him, or 1 6, something like this. And then I started to realize that I was getting interested about learning something. It was very organic, to be honest. This guy, he put me the curiosity and the desire of communicating. But I couldn't go to school at that time. Unfortunately, we didn't have something like Minds, for example, that we could join a group of people online. This is very nice now in 2021, but at that time we didn't have this. But curiously, I bought a dictionary, a small dictionary, and I began to speak with this guy. So I was pretty much sticking words together, and I was pretty much speaking to him the super basic English, but I was understanding. I was like, okay, so if I take this word and I put this word together, I can tell him that I am happy, sad, hungry, and I was beginning to communicate. I am 32 years old right now. I live in Uruguay, and my first contact with the English language was at the age of 16, at this day. From this day on, English was not my priority because I could never choose to study English. I always had to work, but I always felt like there was something in this language that I really want to get so I can communicate with people. And I had the opportunity of traveling to Singapore at the age of 18. Okay, my English was still okay with the little dictionary. And when I traveled, I remember I didn't understand a lot because I only had the dictionary and I was just sticking words together, to communicate. And in Singapore, I could, for the first time, speak a full sentence with someone who was from another country that was not in Japan. And then I realized, okay, I am traveling and I have the need of communicating, and this is helping me. Look at this. This is very interesting. So I left Singapore. Probably I was able to introduce myself. I was able to talk a little bit. But my second traveling, it was to Thailand. And in Thailand, I could speak already in English. And it was getting better. So I never managed going to school, honestly, never. I never could afford going to school. I worked a lot. And the short periods I had during the year to travel, maybe 6 or 7 days, I was doing this. I was traveling, and this is how I developed my language. And my English, I consider my English basic. I can communicate. I don't have a very polite English, let's say, from my point of view, but definitely going around, meeting people, falling in love is a good way to learn English as well. So I will always encourage people to go around, even if they, especially if they are actually able to learn English through mentors and apply this during their travelings. I think this is the perfect combo. It's a very interesting deal because you learn the right way with people who knows. I didn't had this, so I had to figure the mistakes I was making during my speaking. I've made a lot of mistakes. Oh my god! If I tell you girls what I told a few people in my life because I didn't know what I was saying, but it was very important to also not be afraid to come to make mistakes. So, sometimes you will express yourself in a other way, in a different way, but the person will understand. And it's so interesting when you tell this person to help you. So the person tells you, Marcela, hold on. It's with N. It's not an S. Ah, okay, thank you. So I don't get mad. I get very excited and happy actually when people correct my English. And well, today I am a cook, and I cook because I travel, and I also speak English because I travel, and I mixed them both, and I think it's a great combo. And now that we have the opportunity of being here, it's cool. But before we didn't, so we had to travel. Internship was a very famous thing at those times. Remember?
Yeah. Let me ask you
Going to
something,
Europe.
Marcela. Sorry. You said well, you learned by yourself while traveling, and you didn't have any. You were not afraid of making mistakes. But have you ever felt uncomfortable about your accent? Because it's very difficult to distinguish where are you from.
A lot of people, they tell this to me. They say, look, sounds like you're from Sao Paulo. And I say, no. But then they say, it sounds like you're from somewhere else. I love my accent. They tell me, oh, you have a very interesting accent. In Uruguay, they also tell me, why you have your accent if you speak fluent Spanish? Because I am forever Brazilian. And my accent will always be mine. It's part of me. So I speak English with my personal accent, and everybody has its own accent, and it's so beautiful. I think it's not a problem to have your own accent. It's beautiful. It's the variety of the
And
speaking. I love it.
what would you suggest to someone? Okay, so there is a person who needs to study by themselves, a person by themselves now, for him or herself. There is no teacher. So what would you suggest the person to focus on when they are by their own to study?
You know who helped me? You know the band? I think they're from New York. The Strokes is a rock band from the. They were really famous in the 90s, 2000. Well, a long time ago. I wanted to translate their music. I wanted to know what they were talking about because I understood they were saying love, night, forever, and I was like, what is he saying? So with this dictionary, I started to translate the lyrics, and then it was making sense. The grammar I learned probably more traveling, but the basics of English, I think it was through curiosity. You gotta be curious. You can watch. There's a lot of people who likes to watch Netflix. I am a really musical person, so I think music and a little dictionary can take you everywhere, like to begin with. I think so.
Nice.
And yeah, there's no excuses if you really want. And my need at that time, I felt in love with a Canadian guy when I was 19. And I remember that my communication was very basic, but I learned the dictionary also. I bought and I used after to speak fluently with him, and it worked. It worked. So
Was this
falling
before
in love.
like digital dictionary? Do you have to use a
Yeah,
physical?
yeah, yeah. It was physical. It was that mini one.
Yeah, I know the one. I had
It
that.
was not Aurelio.
And then
Mich-
the words Michelin,
something like that.
I have it.
Michaelis.
Girl, I
Yeah,
have the big one here. I'm
yeah,
using
Oh
it.
my days. I used to go everywhere with that when I was in London, like
but
everywhere. And some people
can
would be
I
like
tell
talking to
you,
me.
it's important, and this is very nice because I remember the two first words I was able to translate from the dictionary. And I remember the impact it had in my life because the music was called Last Night, but it wasn't, the spell was different. It was not Night. It was Nite, Nita. And I was like, last, what is last? And I took the dictionary and I saw that in the dictionary it said last, pasada. Night, what is night? Noche, it was night. And I remember how impressed I was when I realized that that small sentence called La Noche Pasada. I understood the whole music. I was very excited. And from this time, the dictionary was very important to me because I didn't have anybody to talk.
It's interesting because you're mentioning something that for us English teachers, I mean, we go to school, we go to university, and people demonize translation, grammar-based translation. So you cannot use your first language. I was taught like this. I mean, when I was, well, Sibeli is not in the US. She probably feels the same because this is what they tell us. Okay, do not use Portuguese. It's forbidden to use Portuguese to learn another language. But you're telling otherwise, you're saying that you use your mother tongue to learn a second language. So how was this process for you?
Well, my mother language is my mother language. I will always be with her. So I think it was a very organic process. It was very smooth, and I had no choice, girls. I had no choice, really. I had, yes or yes, I had to communicate. It was my need of communication to express what I was feeling. So when I finally understood that it's not about translating from Portuguese to English, to be very honest with you. But I was very curious and I understood, I don't even know how to explain, but I understood that this word plus this word together means something, but the grammar was incorrect. I had to formulate a sentence last night, but what? But this was the first fire to light my curiosity. If two words means so much to me, imagine when I begin to understand the verbs, the way of the proper way of speaking. So I got very happy and excited. And from this time to now, I still haven't been to school, and I learn a lot with my works, my books and music. It's a lot important for me.
So guys, please open your mics and ask questions away, huh? Because if you
and also open your mind about the way you learn. It's there's many ways, each one feel comfortable in a way they prefer. What I think that it's important, it's very interesting to have someone to watch you and to tell you that this is okay, this is not okay, maybe you should use this in a best way. If you can today provide this to your alumnos. You see, I forget words as well because I am Brazilian, but I find it very important to have someone to get inspired, too. I was very inspired by all my musical artists because I didn't have any other access to any other inspiration. So
Marcela, can I ask you a question? You're saying you are a Brazilian, but every time you translate something, you go back to Spanish. Why is that?
I speak 5 languages now. I can speak Japanese. Japanese is my second language because I grew up in Japan.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and growing up in Japan is very interesting because I'm from 88 until the beginning of the 2005, and from 2005 I would say speaking English became to be something important in Japan. but people don't really, they never, paid a lot of attention until they see the country getting attacked, let's say, by a lot of tourists. So they felt the need of speaking. So from Japanese to English, I was trilingual at this time, but I never studied. I moved to Uruguay. And when I moved to Uruguay, my Spanish was very bad, Oh my goodness. But I learned, so I'm here for 6 years now. I can't really have a conversation in one language because I mix Portuguese, Spanish, and I dream in Japanese. And that is very intense and interesting. But yes, I do dream in Japanese, and I congratulate myself in Japanese when I do a great job.
How do you say that in Japanese? How do you congratulate yourself?
For example, I talk to myself in a way that just like my grandma would be talking to me, something like, hey girl, you made it. So I say that in Japanese, that is something like this. Maru-chan, yoku dekita ne, yokatta ne, ii ne.
I love it. Why is it
so-
doing this?
Yeah, because this is something very important for the Japanese culture now. So even though I go to Japan, I mix Spanish. And even though I am in Uruguay right now, I am always doing the Japanese, movement, because this is what I consumed for my entire life. So I live very happily with all the languages I speak, but I get confused a little bit sometimes.
What is the other language? Do you speak Portuguese, English, Spanish, Japanese?
And I speak, io parlo italiano un po'.
Macchie.
Yeah, and the Italian thing is very interesting because I am not studying right now, but I would love to go to Italy to spend maybe 2 months, 3 months to learn, being there, learning from the hard times that I will probably have. I will be hungry and I will have a problem, and nobody will be able to completely solve my problem. So I will have to find the way. So I think it's interesting to do this traveling to complement the linguas I was going to say that you speak. It's important. Yeah.
Maybe you need to fall in love with an Italian. That's what's missing.
I already did, and it was a hard thing.
Oh, no. No.
I would not recommend Italians.
Thank you, Ali.
Yes.
Me neither. The
Stay
pizza
clear.
is good though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
falling in love, it's a nice way to speak also.
Yeah, the language of love.
Yeah.
So, girl, you learned Japanese because your father was Japanese and you live in Japan, and English, traveling, Spanish because you moved to Uruguay, and Italian. How did it happen?
I worked for an Italian company on a ship called Costa, the cruise ships that were traveling across the globe. So I worked for a couple of years as a photographer, as an international hostess. And I met a lot of Italians in the ship. I had to fall in love with one, at least, right? So I did. And we began to study a little bit with conversations. He was introducing me, but it was not enough. Actually, I learned going there, asking, for the shops, if they had it cold or hot, or if they could serve me half portion. So I learned a little bit more every time I have the opportunity to go. And whenever I can listen to Italian music or watch something from Italia, I also pay attention because it's my next language probably that I would love to speak like better, in a way
Nice.
that I can communicate. So I think it's the next one.
Nice. Yeah, you're a free spirit. So I was going to ask you something and I totally forgot. It was regarding the countries you visited. I mean, you've been in all the continents, all of them, Asia, Africa, Americas, Europe.
I haven't been to Australia yet.
Oh, okay.
It's the only one I'm missing. But I have been to a few countries in Africa. I love so much. all the experiences I had was very interesting. I stayed in Ethiopia for a week and they speak English really well.
That's what I was going to ask. In these travelings,
Yeah.
which language did you use the most?
Yeah, definitely English. After Singapore and Thailand and Malaysia, I got English. And then traveling was so good to understand what people were saying, being able to get into all the little path that you can when you communicate, it's so good. And I think is the best way, really. I will always say that is the best way. So I learned English after Singapore and Thailand. And from this time on, everywhere I traveled, they were speaking English, but France, no. France, I didn't have communication. I cried. Nobody understood me. Because if you go to France, they wanted to speak French because French is from France. And okay, but I
How
don't
dare you
speak
speak
French.
English in that country?
You
They
see,
l-
so
oh my God, they look at you like worse than shit when you try to speak to
and you
them in
know what?
English.
And I remember I didn't communicate in France. I was silent for a week.
No, it's bad, it's bad.
Like nobody wants to talk to me.
I did better with Portuguese, like trying to
Exato.
speak Portuguese than English.
I
They
found many
hate it.
people speaking Portuguese. Many people speaking Portuguese. They would rather
Yeah.
speak Portuguese than English. Yeah,
In France?
Big,
yeah. In Paris, the only place I've been in France.
It's the only place I've been to.
yeah, I have a friend that he's been to Paris, and he said that the way he found a way for people to communicate with him in English is that he learned how to say, I don't speak French. I only speak English. Can you help me in French? So he approached people saying, I'm sorry, I don't speak French, but in French. So people were more willing to help him because he
Yeah.
was making an effort to speak in French first.
So
So
they could
that
see that you're doing your best, right?
exactly.
Yeah, this is very interesting because in Japan, a lot of people they thought I was from Russia or Ukraine. So I had to learn in Russian how to say that I am not Russian, that I am Brazilian. So I had to say "Я нет русский, я говорит бразильянка." Otherwise, they would keep talking to me in Russian. So I had to learn this. And this is also a very interesting thing that if we notice, this is actually curiosity too. And I think curiosity can lead you everywhere. Any language you might want to speak, understand, or write. If you're curious about how can I say this in English, and if you actually go and look for the word, you will never forget, because I will never forget last night from that band. So it's a nice way to never forget, in my opinion.
Yeah, and confidence as well. And this is something that I tell people. I know it's difficult for adults. I mean, we have here Ariel, Luciano. They are listening. They're kind of Eliane. I mean, people from. We are the mentors, but I mean, people from different areas. They are very successful in their area. We have lawyer, a professor, and I mean, these people, they are very successful in their area, and it's sometimes frustrating to try to be as fluent in another language that they do not master. I told you, yes, we are. Who's this?
Então pega meu fone pra mim.
Oh,
Hi, Luciano.
yeah, that's
Welcome.
Luciano.
Aí, estão me chamando.
Por que você não tá falando?
Yeah, but I mean, so what do you say, how do you feel about confidence? What role did it play in your learning process?
I was never a confidence kind of child. I was always not really confident. Growing up in Japan as a foreigner was very intense, So now I feel very comfortable with my English. Now I feel very confident. I don't think I ever felt uncomfortable about not speaking English. I don't think so. I felt uncomfortable sometimes as a foreigner, as a woman in Japan, but for other things. And after that, I could, I got over. And the confidence, I think, when I had this Canadian boyfriend, I made a lot of mistakes when I was talking to him, and he knows that. But sometimes he would correct me, but he would leave me free to make mistakes, because the mistakes is, it's very important and it's part of it. Some people, they will correct you if you allow or if you ask them to do so, but some people won't for any reasons. And this guy at that time, when I showed him that I wanted him to correct me, things were getting a lot better and a lot faster, because I had dictionary plus someone who was correcting me. He was not a mentor, but he actually was from Canada, so it was his mother language. I never got his accent. I never wanted to get his accent, but I learned a lot of English also from him and from our communication, solving problems, how we're going to pay rent this month and how things will be. And then one day he looked at me and said, "You're speaking English." And I said, "Yeah, I think I am. Thank you so much." So for the first month, I was just talking anything I could, and they knew it, but they understood. So confidence was not a part of it, but I was never a very confident child, but I managed. I was not scared of making mistakes.
Nice. Girl, so please tell us about Larica and your cook,
I do. It's something very interesting to talk about, because now everything connects. When I spoke English, I knew that it was going to be helpful for me, that learning another language would help me out. But things didn't make sense still. Traveling was good, everything was very good. But then when I moved to Uruguay, I could put all the things together. So now I am a cook. I have a space where I host guests for dining experiences. They can also stay here in the house, like a little Airbnb thing. And I do have foreigners as well, customers that comes to the place. And this is where I understand that everything makes sense. Now I can work as a cook, I can live my life, and I can use English on my everyday life. My blog, my website is in English now, because I want to reach the maximum people I can. And I want to encourage foreigners, Brazilians, people from Spain, anywhere, to take a look at the way I write. I write English in English, but in Portuguese. I mean, my way of writing. It's not wrong, but it's my way, and it helps me a lot. Writing is something different than speaking, no? And now with my cooking work and with the space I have in the house, with everything connects. And I am super happy to be able to communicate with people from all over the world. I had customers from Ireland. I had customers from Australia. A lot of people from all over the world, they come. And if I didn't learn English, no, at that time, with the curiosity I had, I wouldn't be able to do this now. So the time to learn English is now. If you feel like learning another language, it's now. It's every day. It's a lifestyle, no? The curiosity of learning English.
Yeah, girl, this is what you said is precious, because you are a businesswoman, that you have a business in a language that you do not master, and you say, I'm okay with that. I just want to communicate with people. This is awesome.
Yeah. And this is fantastic, because I've been in a lot of magazines from the United States, and I don't even go to the United States. I mean, the last time I was there, I was a teenager. And when they call me to make an interview, they say, it's beautiful to talk and hear your accent. The mix of everything you lived in your life, it's coming from your, through your mouth. And this is very nice. So I keep my Brazilian accent. I love it. And I mix with the accent from people from São Paulo. And I'm not even from São Paulo, but I think this is a compilation of everything in life that I could become who I am. So it's important. It's important to express. It doesn't matter if it's wrong or right.
Yeah. I know that you were, I saw the magazine, Marie Claire, that you were the cover of Marie Claire. They were talking about you there. But how about these other magazines that in US?
it's very interesting the way they find my work, because I am one of the only ones in South America working in my kind of business that communicates in English, even though I am in a Spanish speaking country. And why I do this? Because I am prospecting. I am prospecting the future. I want the world to understand. So this is why English is important. Is the whole world paying attention at what you say. So through my blog, through my website, through my Instagram, they find me. And recently I got a contract for a TV show in Spanish, but I told them I mix all the languages. And then he said, this is what we love about you. And this is what we want from you. We want you to show people that anybody, anywhere can achieve their goals and do what they want to do. It doesn't really matter what you speak, where you come from and your accent. It's communication. So they find me in way. I ask them, how do you find me? And they find me. They do. And I appreciate it so much when they come and they tell about my work, that they like it, that they have been looking at my job for a long time. And they finally got me in the cover of the magazine. Come on, just last year, I was in 3 American magazines. And I had a huge space in it and everything in English. And I was so amazed, being able to read it and to share with my colleagues, the ones who didn't understand everything. I was very happy to translate. And yeah, this is fantastic. I love it. I'm very proud that I can understand the others too, and
So
they can understand me.
How do you say again? Good job, girl, in Japanese, so we can say to you.
Yoku dekita ne.
Yoku dekita ne.
Oh my goodness. This is very a way that my grandma would tell me if I did a great job. She would put her hand here and be like, Yoku dekita ne. It means pretty much you did it. Congratulations. But like you were talking to a small girl.
Let me ask you something, Marcela. When I entered here and I heard you talking, I had the same feeling, like this accent is not from a Spanish speaker, but I couldn't understand that you were Brazilian. I was like, what kind of accent is this? Where is you from? Now I understand you are from the world, right?
Yeah.
But did you started to learn English with a little dictionary, but did you ever get to have any classes, like formal classes, ever, or never?
Look, when I fell in love with this guy, he left Japan and I got depressed. I needed to see him again. So I found a way to go to Canada. But to go to Canada, I had to pay a school, but I didn't have the money to pay a school. So what did I do? I bought the cheapest course I could to get into the country. For 2 weeks, I bought the course. I remember it was $300, I think. I was like, okay, for 2 weeks, I can afford. So I bought the course. I entered the class to take the level test. The teacher looked at me and said, you don't need English classes. You speak English really well. You're not basic. And I was like, what? Yeah. And then I was like, okay, so I will study these 2 weeks here. Give me everything you can, and I'll live my life. And then I got a job in Canada illegally, of course. And this is when I learned everything as a legal citizen in Canada, trying to communicate with people. This is the necessity of communication. You need to communicate somehow. And I didn't have mentors. I didn't have money to pay school. I had to find a way because I was deeply in love with that guy.
And that's nice because that's what language is a tool of communication. Like you need to have a goal in mind. Why are you learning this language? You had a purpose, you had a goal. You needed to learn the language because you were in love with this guy.
I needed to tell him how my heart was feeling. It was very intense. I couldn't express in words, I couldn't drum anymore a little heart with the thing saying, love you.
Was it enough?
Was it enough? I need to ask this guy to marry me. So I had to learn another part of life.
That's amazing.
No, yeah. And today we don't speak anymore. He's married to an ex-friend of mine. Things went to a different way. But I am very thankful, Anthony. Thank you so much. If you one day watch this, you were very important, in this process.
It was a soap opera, Walter is saying.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. This
Yeah,
is
it's a
nice.
nice way. Yeah, languages, love is the best way. Also, it's a good way to understand, because you want to communicate and you want to express yes or yes. There's no way. So I would thank this opportunity I have to meet this person, and for all the patience he had to understand me, even though my communication was not that clear at the time.
Yeah, but what impresses me the most is the fact that you are, you are at peace with the languages that you speak, that you are confident enough to do business.
Yeah, I am doing business lately with people from Israel, and I am talking to a lot of people from California as well. And I do have meetings through Zoom, and I feel very, very confident. And even though I have my beautiful Brazilian Spanish accent and I make my small mistakes, it goes really smooth in the conversation. Nobody interrupt me in the middle of a business conversation to say that I'm wrong, because they know this is not my mother language. It's okay. It's okay.
What happens if you don't understand what people say? Because you say you are doing business with people from Israel and English is not their first language as well. So
No.
you have this, this sometimes these frictions in communication. So how do you solve this small problem?
I ask them clearly, what again? Sorry, I didn't understand you. And they also do that to me. So I think it's an exchange. We all we weren't born speaking English, and I think it's all an exchange, and everybody wants to develop and get better and better. I also them, because if you're partnershiping with me means that they want to plus and to get bigger. So speaking also with them through meetings online is developing my confidential aspect, my confidential part. I feel very, very confident now speaking. Even though I make small mistakes, I don't mind anymore.
Nice. Okay,
Yeah.
girl. In your line of business, please. You cook. What do you cook?
Yeah.
How
I cook well. Sorry.
No, I was going to ask about those blind dinners you also offer, because I think this is
I love it.
amazing. I had never seen this before.
Yeah. My project is called Larica. Larica in Portuguese means munchies, the desire of eating a lot, desperately, nonstop, at any time. It doesn't matter when. And before cooking, I learned how to eat with my father. And when I arrived in the Uruguay, I had the opportunity of having a table, a big table. So this is where I started to cook for friends. And then when I realized from 3 friends, I had 20 friends at home. And then the friends from the friends were coming. And then the friends from the friends of the friends were also coming. So I said, okay, so if I have a brand called Larica, right, for those, I began working especially for those who were hungry. It has nothing to be with cannabis at that time. So I wanted to help people that were hungry, 5 in the morning. And the only thing we had was this really not really nice crackers that, I wanted something better than that. And then I started to make food for the people here, for my friends. And then they started to order me cupcakes, and then they asked me for birthday cake, and then they asked me for something else. And then when I realized, I was like, I think I am cooking and people is buying my food. And here in Uruguay, when I arrived in 2015, so you guys know that love is very interesting aspect when it comes to languages. I felt in love with a guy here in Uruguay, of course. And so he was from Uruguay, and he told me, Marcela, you cook really well. You should transform this into a business. I bought a bigger table and I started to promote through Instagram. Come to my house to eat. Really basic offering, really. I wanted in the beginning to bring delivery food delivery chefs who cooks through deliveries applications, no, like Pedido Ya and iFood. I wanted them to have a closer relation with their customers. So I was inviting them to cook in the house to bring their customers to know him better, because the only relation they have was the marmita relationship. So I wanted to see them on the table, like sitting all together and enjoying the chef, when I found out that I could be the chef myself. So then I started to, for real, transform this into a real business. Cannabis was legalized in Uruguay in 2015. La Rica got together and we become officially La Rica, because I was trying to not confuse people with the cannabis. I was not a cannabist. I wanted to cook, express through food, because I couldn't speak Spanish. And after the legalization, I found someone who asked for my first weed infused brownie. And I was like, this is very interesting. Let me do this. So I did my first weed infused brownie. I did the first 40 brownies and then I never stopped. And then now I have a company that is developing products with cannabis to help relieve anxiety. So we're getting into the wellness and lifestyle kind of business right now. We want to demystify the use of cannabis in fine cuisine as well. We want to bring good dishes with good local producers to set you down, to put you down a little bit from the anxiety that drives us nuts in this era that we are living. And this is why people is finding my project so much, because it's also connected with wellness and cannabis. And it's not a trend, but everybody wants to live better and everybody wants a better life. So this is where I think cannabis can come into the project and stay forever. I don't think it's a thing that I would change. I think from this on, we'll grow more and more and we'll develop pet foods. I have a cosmetic now with cannabis that you can also apply on your skin and you can also eat. It's vegan, because in a year, approximately a woman eats a kilo of lipstick. Yeah. And lipsticks are not vegan. So I want to eat, my body deserves things that are cruelty free. So if I put a lipstick on and I cannot eat, what doesn't make any sense, because you eat the lipstick you put in your mouth.
I never thought about that.
True.
Yeah, of course we eat the lipstick. It's in
Of
our
course,
mouth.
you do this. You do that, and you put lip gloss, and you're like, I'm so beautiful. Girls, in the end, you eat the whole thing, and you're eating
chemicals.
No, and you're eating a lot of whale fat as well,
Yes.
because Chanel, for example, they use whale fat to make their product a little high quality, let's say, but it impacts in other aspects. So I developed this thing too, that I want just the good things to be connected to my lifestyle. So I don't sell my products. I think I sell a lifestyle of wellness, of freedom, traveling, of curiosity, and I embrace my weirdness. It's okay.
Nice. Yeah, and it's all of this you say. It's amazing and very interesting, because cannabis is something very marginalized worldwide, especially
Totally.
here in Brazil. Yeah, and people, there are medications made especially from these herb, but here in Florianopolis, there are. I guess I saw on TV two people, that they have this special permit to grow the plants in their home, but they needed to file reports, for the government saying how much they have produced to make the oil exactly to consume for their medical condition.
Yeah, look, this is gold, and this is the cure for a lot of things. Anxiety, and it's controlled by the government. It's made by a firm. I know what it's from. I know the quality of the leaves. I support women in this business. I want women to grow. I want women to harvest. I want women to infuse, and I want women to offer. So everything makes sense now. I didn't understand anything before, but now I know that I came to this point for a reason, and I need to take my drops, otherwise I won't sleep. And it's THC free. You don't get high. You just get calm.
So how do you call it? The what?
This is CBD.
CBD, okay. And this is the medical.
Yeah, this is the medical CBD. It's from Red de Usuarios de Cannabis Medicinal. It's from a Uruguayan, it's a non-profit organization where they concentrate all the mothers and kids and everybody who has a little pathology or something, or autism, chronic pains everywhere, chronic headaches or anything. Cannabis is the thing. I totally recommend. My mom is taking cannabidiol right now. She has, she feels her body super hot for her age. And I offered her, she came to Uruguay, and actually she wanted me to introduce her to CBD, and she enjoys it. Her life changed a lot. My life changed. I came from an anxious person, impatient, very explosive person to somebody who can now have a conversation.
Wow. We were talking about it yesterday, right, Sibeli? We have a friend that she's a psychologist, and she was explaining, so, you know, these studies that is going on around the world and how these can really benefit. And she said, this is the future. Once, you know, people go deep in this study, this is the future.
Yeah, cannabis is the future, and everything will make sense in the end, you know. And I'm very glad now that I can communicate in English, because it's because of this language that I can make business with my partners.
Thank you very much, guys. So please open your mics if you want to ask questions. It's awesome. Thank you very much for sharing, and it's beautiful to see.
Thank you for having me. No, it's beautiful. I really like also the way you guys are introducing the English to your alumnus. Alumnus in English? Students. Oh my goodness, you see? So it's very nice to be close to them, to create a group that you can actually create a connection. I would love to have been, you know, part of this 10 years ago, to have someone like you, Sibel, Ali, and Laís to help me develop. I couldn't. I did it alone. But I'm very happy to be part of this. And today I was talking to Laís actually, that the invitation to speak here with you guys made me go back through all my journey, and I'm more than thankful for every little person I crossed, you know, across my path. And Laís is one of this person who came through Airbnb and stayed forever. And I'm very
sorry.
Yeah. She had an upgrade. She came as a customer, and she left as a friend, you know. This is very, very nice. And I feel very rich with this kind of connection. So thank you so much. Thank you always.
Oh, thank you.
I think Marcela should branch out to Brazil.
I think so too. I was telling Laís that I might be able to come this next month for you know, for TV cooking show, and I would love to do a little traveling. Espírito Santo. I have friends. I have very good friends in Espírito Santo. They're siblings, and she always tells me come around, but it's a bit far away. But as soon as I reach Brazil, I will give myself, if I can, this beautiful gift that is traveling around. It's a beautiful country. It's beautiful, amazing. I love it.
For sure.
Can you imagine Marcela cooking with Ana Maria Braga?
Girl.
The dream.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Look, whenever you guys want to invite me for these conversations, if you have any doubts anytime and you want to ask something, I will always be available. And if you come to Uruguay, guys, please. Cledir, also, Luciano, Eliane, Walter, everybody, okay? Everybody, when it comes to Uruguay, give me a hi, okay?
Casa Larica, it's beautiful. I love it.
Is this going to be recorded?
It's been recorded, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. It's I mean, because you gave your apartment, your home, a name, right? And it's nice welcoming everybody at your place.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you, everybody,
Please
for
invite me
joining.
again. I loved it. I loved it because I could speak my English a little more. You see, now it's going out. I'm getting confused because it's not 8 o'clock. My Spanish will start to, eat me very soon.
I have no idea what you're talking about when you said that your English is basic. Where?
Yeah.
What? Basic?
Larica.
There we go. No, I wanna.
Larica.
Hi, Eliane.
Cannabis is life in Uruguay, other
Yes.
countries.
Yeah, it is.
In question, education, and culture in
Totally.
Brazil.
Yeah, I know. And I would like, please, guys, give my contact to Eliane. I would love to keep talking to her also about this. And anybody here who would like to have my contact, please do so. And we can definitely keep you in contact, okay?
Yeah. Well, there is your Instagram. What's your Instagram? You can put in the chat.
I will
if
put
you
in the
wish.
chat.
Yeah,
Put
put in the
everything
chat
here.
before we finish, because otherwise it's going to, we're going to lose.
There we go. Larica Uruguay and Ikeda Marcela. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so this way everybody gets your contact, can see your
Send
work.
me some love, okay?
Absolutely, lots of
And
love.
this is my number. Send it to me.
Nice. So nice of you.
Thank you.
Sharing your contact like this. Very nice.
Yeah, just reach me out anytime, okay?
Guys, let's take a picture.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I?
Yes, I'm going to take a print screen as well. So put your best smile.
I will turn on the.
Now,
Thank you.
I think we made it.
Picture time, Claudine.
Picture time, yeah. Well, Luciano, I don't know if he's listening to us. We're going to take a picture, Luciano, if you want to turn your camera on. Otherwise, it's in 1, 2, 3, smile. There you go. Let me make sure that everybody's with the eyes open. No, Walter was.
I got it.
No,
Yeah,
Walter,
I got it. Beautiful
you-
smiles
you-
from everybody.
yeah, because Walter was with his eyes closed. You got a good one?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so please.
Yeah, I got it. I got a lot of photos. I'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you. Then I share with everybody. Thank you very much. And you post the picture and you tag us, please, as well.
I will, of course.
I already added you on both accounts.
Thank you. Eliane, I'm waiting for you. Add me too, okay?
Oh, girl.
Okay.
Aliane is a carioca from Rio.
Larica.
Larica.
Love.
Thank you so much. I gotta pick my client downstairs to feed him because he has arrived. But can you please invite me again for this? I love it.
Absolutely.
And we can do it once a month. Once a month if you want. I'm available.
I love it. We have a deal, girl. We have a deal
I love
whenever.
it.
Yes.
Sure.
Awesome.
All
So
right.
we have
I'll
a
see you
deal.
soon.
See
I'll
you.
see all you girls soon.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye,
Thank you
hon.
very much.
Bye.
Take
Thank you.
care.
Bye, dear. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
I love it.